The biological and economic impacts of genetically modified organisms. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, are organisms that have had to change their genetic code. This change is done through the process of transgenetics, which is inserting genes from one organism into another. There are two common types of genetically modified crops. There are crops inserted with a bacterial gene to increase insect resistance within the crop, known as Bt crops. And there are herbicide-resistant crops which can be sprayed with herbicides to reduce invasive weeds and whatnot without any harm to the crop itself. In 1994, the first commercially available genetically modified organism were tomatoes that were given a gene to increase the time it takes to ripen them so they could stay on product shelves longer. In 1997, the European Union required labeling on all GMO products available, and now today there are several GMO-free zones within Europe. The Earth is very unique. We have a lot of biodiversity in varying ecosystems around the globe. Biodiversity is crucial to maintain a balance within Earth's life forms. A loss of any species in an ecosystem could disrupt this balance greatly. One way in which biodiversity can be lost is through the practice of agriculture. Agriculture requires that land be cleared in order to plant very few varying organisms over and over again each year. Another cause of biodiversity loss is the use of herbicides on the herbicide-resistant GMO crops. Herbicides, like pesticides, are used to reduce the amount of weeds and other invasive plants that are affecting an agricultural area. These herbicides have been shown to damage not only plant life but insect life as well. A current example of this is the monarch butterflies have a declining population that has been attributed to herbicide use. Another issue with GMOs is hybridization, which is inevitable once GMO crops are planted. Hybridization occurs when genes from two differing organisms are combined to form a new organism. In GMOs, hybridization occurs between genetically modified and non-genetically modified organisms. Hybrid organisms do not occur without there being consequences. One possible consequence of hybridization is the change in the competitive abilities of an organism, which could lead to said organism becoming an invasive species in an ecosystem, which would further affect biodiversity. A disadvantage associated with hybridization is a lack of seed output from hybridized plants. There are also economic impacts associated with GMOs. Economic impacts vary per region due to climate, pest, farming techniques used, seed cost, as well as the crop market. The relationship between GMOs, seeds, and farmers is very complex. The seed industry has become mainly privatized, which means farmers have to buy all their seeds from very few companies. Some companies make what are called terminator seeds, which are inviable after only one growing season. This causes farmers to have to buy seeds each year, instead of reusing seeds from previous growing seasons. The cost of genetically modified seeds is higher than non-genetically modified seeds, which causes farmers to lessen the income they will get each year to pay for these seeds that should be beneficial to them. In addition to higher seed costs, farmers must also pay for herbicides used to control pests. The higher cost of GMO seeds does not guarantee a successful growing season, and farmers rely on successful growing seasons for income each year. The impacts to both the environment and economy must be taken into account when one is considering whether GMOs are viable to support agriculture in today's society.